All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to begin with our expedited accusation calendar for today, November 7th, 2023. This is misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Upon being booked in, the prosecutor, that is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, has formally accused the defendant of one or more misdemeanor offenses. So this would be the individual's initial appearance before a judicial officer. When I call your case, please first of all remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to discuss during the course of this virtual proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one of our public defense counsel or the conflict defense attorney will be representing you. Okay, we have about 10 cases. Were there any add-ons, Ms. Bridgewater?
I do not show any, and I'm also showing that one of the cases may have bonded out. So we may not even have 10.
Okay.
Ms. Malcolm, position number 6, there's a possibility that she bonded out.
That is correct.
All
Okay.
right.
And also, if I may, the reset date for the SAP calendar is November the 21st.
Oh, okay. Got it. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Brittany Malcolm has been released on bond. So that case is further noticed. Let's proceed with courtroom 2. Who do we have, please?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. This is position 10, Williams.
All right. Thank you. This is Terriana Williams, accused of criminal trespass from October 21st, 2023. Ms. Williams, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2022, crimes against person. Duly recommended.
All right. And Mr. Walker?
It's actually me, Your Honor. Am I
I'm
on?
sorry. Yeah, Mr. Watson?
Brief facts of the case is just the case just generally arises out of a dispute that happened between the victim and the defendant. The victim being Savarius, Savarius Hightower. After that, I'm assuming during that fight or after that fight, she knocked down a security camera and damaged it. Our office was able to get in contact with the victim. I believe she may be on today, but the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, and 1 anger management course.
All right.
And if we can sound for the victim in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
What's the name again?
Savarius, Savarius Hightower.
Mr. Hightower?
Yeah.
I do have a Zoom panel with no name on it, so I have no idea. It looks like the I have a Zoom panel with the name being a dot. That person identify themselves? All right, I'm sending you a chat. Who are you? All right. Okay. Miss Kim, unless you have any objection, it will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Miss Williams, you'll need to make sure that you maintain a good address with the clerk's office so we can send you a notice of your next court date. If you fail to appear in your next court date, not only will a bench warrant be issued for your arrest, but you will lose the signature bond. You need to stay away from Mr. Severius Hightower and the incident location. I don't have it. Mr. Pierre-Thomas, do you have it? I'm sorry, you're
I
muted.
was muted. Yes, I do have it. The incident location is 4689 Roswell Road, Sandy Springs.
Okay. All right. Miss Williams, we'll see you at your next court date. Thank you.
Position 9, Wiley, you're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. One has to go there.
All right. I have position number 9, Nicola Wiley, and this is 5 offenses stemming from a traffic incident of November 6, 2023. Case number is 23 CR 6946A. Ms. Wiley is accused of driving with an expired or no license plate on the vehicle, giving false information to an officer, a seatbelt violation, operating a vehicle with no insurance, and failure to have license on person. Ms. Wiley, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your counsel is Ms. Kim. Any prior traffic offenses, Mr. Howard?
Oh,
Any
no, but
open cases?
yeah, you got an open ag assault, terrorist threats, trespass it's out of the cab. The bond assessment says Fulton. It's a
All right.
22 CR case. They got a hold out of the cab counter for larceny.
So there's a hold. Okay, thank you. Mr. Pierre-Thomas, any comment on bond?
Yes, I'll give a brief facts because of so many charges, but on November 6, 2023, the officer was patrolling on East I-20 near Boulevard and observed the vehicle without a tag display. The officer activated the emergency lights and conducted a traffic stop, asked for the license. She said she didn't have it, asked the driver to write their name down, wrote Nicola Bell with the date of birth, looks like August 16, 2023. Obviously, the officer should have known that wasn't proper, but she was unable to find the officer was unable to find the information. So then he found the correct information and found out that she had a warrant out of the cab. The officer also ran the car's registration, or asked her for the car registration. She said she left it at the house. He ran the VIN, came back that the car was stolen. That DeKalb, further investigation shows that DeKalb case is actually for the theft of this vehicle. She apparently purchased it with a fraudulent check, or I'm not sorry, fraudulent pay stubs. And so that's the indicia for that. But the state is going to ask for a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving without valid insurance or a valid driver's license.
All right. The total bond is going to be a 2,500 signature bond through the jail. And this is going to be a release with a release only to the DeKalb County authorities. No driving unless she has a valid driver's license, proper registration for a vehicle that she owns or that she's authorized to drive, and adequate insurance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, what's your breakdown?
A 500 on each count.
Thank you. Position 4, you're done. Position 4. You pronounce your name? Galarza.
Carlita Galarza is accused of criminal trespass from October 23rd, and her case number is 23 CR 6939C. Ms. Galarza, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Ms. Abden. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest, 2017 DUI, not prosecuted. 2014 ag battery dismissed. Jail was a recommendation.
All right. Our prosecutor is Mr. Pierre Thomas, Mr. Walker. Who's the prosecutor in this case?
Mr. Walker, I believe.
Oh, okay. Mr. Walker, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's all right.
1 second, I was having issues with my laptop, Mr. Garland. Okay, I have it. Law enforcement was dispatched to 492 Pierce Avenue, where they spoke to the victim, Miss Jennifer Garlaza. She advised that her ex-wife came to her home, where her ex-wife does not reside, has never resided. She was able to jimmy the lock open, if you will. At the time, the victim called the police and warrants were taken out for criminal trespass. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, Jennifer Garlaza, a stay away from the incident location, 492 Pierce Avenue, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, I would sound for the victim, Miss Jennifer Garlaza.
All right. Ms. Abden, any objection to the signature bond for pretrial?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm requesting a signature bond through the jail. That was the recommendation. She does not have any prior violent offenses or any felonies. She has been living in Georgia consistently for the past 8 years. She does have strong ties to the community, and she's not a flight risk at this time. She also has a valid address here in Fulton County. She has a son, Your Honor. He's 15 years old. She is the primary caretaker and breadwinner. She's gainfully employed as well. And the longer she will remain in jail, the more likely is she will lose her job. She does deny the allegations. It sounds like this was a misunderstanding, Your Honor. They're going through a divorce, her and her ex-wife, and she was just picking up her daughter from this address and was allowed to be there. And so she does deny the allegations.
How many children does she share with Miss Jennifer?
I believe it's one child. That child is 7 years old and resides with the ex.
Okay.
And Your Honor, just be clear, we did make contact with the victim, and the victim made it clear that they have not lived together for over a year. So this was no accident or coincidence.
Okay. On the criminal trespass matter, is going to be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial services. Mrs. Garzala, you're going to report to pretrial once a month. You're to have no contact with Jennifer Galarza. If there is to be any visitation with the child that you share with Jennifer Garzala, it has to be a third-party transfer. You're also to stay away from 492 Pierce Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. And your next court date will be sent to your Sunset Avenue address. Is that still a current address? All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So it's through pretrial, third-party transfer, and no contact with Jennifer Galarza. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 8, Phillips. No.
Akeem Phillips is accused of battery, family violence from November 6, 2023. Case is 23 CR 6945Y. Ms. Phillips, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard, any priors?
14 total. 2020 local ordinance conviction. 2014 simple assault, possession of marijuana conviction. And a 07 unlawful possession of a weapon, terrorist threats conviction. He's recommended.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
A brief facts of the case is that I'm not muted. On November 6, 2023, the officer responded to a battery family violence call at the incident location, that location being 340 Onyx Court, South Fulton, Georgia, 30349. The victim stated that she and her uncle got into a verbal dispute about the home's AC unit. Words were exchanged between both parties. The victim stated that the defendant did not like what she had to say, so he physically assaulted her by choking her with his bare hands. The victim stated that when she was being choked, he choked her against the fridge and up against the wall until They got to her bedroom. The victim stated that she did not physically assault the defendant at all. She advised that there were two children, KJ, looks like two different KJ initials, that were in the living room at the time of that the situation occurred. She stated that this is not the first time that her uncle has gotten physically assaultive to her. The defendant himself admitted to pushing the victim in her chest. We have been able to get in contact with the victim. She confirmed the statements in the warrant. I think we at this time are seeking to upgrade the charges to aggravated assault strangulation. The recommendation from the state is a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if we could sound for, it looks like Janae, Jhane Jones, traditional spelling at this time in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I understand that Ms. Jones would not like to address the court, so we can move on.
Okay.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Phillips, is 39 years old. He was born in New Jersey and he moved to Georgia about a year ago. And the living situation right now is it is him and 3 of his children who are 8, 11, and 13 years old. And Ms. Jones, complaining witness, has 2 minor children, 2 years old and a few weeks. Newborn baby. So my concern is my client has no objection to stay away from that location. However, it will be extremely difficult for Ms. Jones to take care of 3 of his children, including her children. It will be 5 children, Your Honor. So we would like to request for no further violent contact for the benefit of Ms. Jones, who has to take care of 2 minor children of her own. My client is actually gainfully employed at STORD company. He works from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m., Your Honor. And he graduated from high school. Even though he has a job, it is still because of how many children that he has to support, he's still qualified for public defender services. And we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial and then no further violent contact. Thank you.
All right.
And Your Honor, we have spoken with the victim and she states that she is in fear from the defendant and that she wants no contact.
All right. Bond is set at $5,500. It's going to be a surety bond. No contact with Janae Jones and the her minor children, which are going to be the KJ. They're both KJ. One born in 2021, one born in 2023. Allow for he needs to stay away from the location 340 Onyx Court in South Fulton. Once he makes bond, he needs to update the court with his new address within 30 days of being released. He will allow a one-time visit to the Onyx Court location with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings and also to retrieve the children. I understand, Ms. Kim, you said he has 3 minor children?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so if he wants to retrieve the 3 minor children, that's who. In the meantime, if Mr. Phillips remains at the jail, then it is Miss Jones' responsibility to make sure that all the minor children in those homes are well taken care of. And his next court date is going to be November 21st.
Position 7, McCord.
This is State versus James McCord, accused of simple battery family violence from November 4th, 2023. Mr. McCord, you have a right to remain silent as advised, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Any priors, Mr.
12 total. 2015 trespass conviction. 2014 disorderly conduct conviction. He's recommended.
Your Honor, brief facts from the state
Yes,
is that
sir.
on November 4, 2023, the officer I'm sorry. The officer responded to a fight in progress call for service located at the incident location 579 Simmons Street, Northwest Atlanta. The victim stated that her husband, the defendant, had been physically assaulting her during a physical altercation. She also stated that the incident occurred while she was in the kitchen cooking. She stated that the defendant pushed her forcefully, causing her to stumble, and then proceeded to choke her. She advised that it was not an isolated incident and the defendant tends to become violent when he has been consuming alcohol. The defendant himself admitted to having a couple of beers earlier that evening. Upon examination, the officer did not observe any visible marks or injuries to the victim's neck, despite her complaints that her neck hurt. However, the victim did express discomfort and tenderness in her neck area and mentioned that she had difficulty breathing during the altercation. The recommendation, because it's eerily similar to aggravated assault strangulation, the recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Our office has not been able to get in contact with the victim. It looks like Desiree, Desarey, McCord, MCCORD, but if we could sound for her in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Desiree McCord, if you'd like to contribute to the hearing, this will be the time to unmute and start your video. All right, Ms. Atay.
Desiree McCord is actually, she was arrested also on a warrant after she called the police. So I think she's made bond, but I'm not sure. My client denies all of the charges in the all of the allegations. He states that his wife called the police and that when they arrived, she told them that she didn't want him to go to jail. She just wanted them to tell him to stay at home and go to bed, and she did not want him to be arrested. He denies that he pushed her and denies that he choked her. I have been able to get in touch with my client's brother, Nathaniel, who stated that he was at the jail posting the bond for Desiree McCord, his wife, the complaining witness, and that she told him to instead, if she could, post bond for James McCord so that he could then get her out. They're an elderly couple. They've been married for almost 30 years. Peacefully. My client has gone to college. He is currently retired. He does qualify for public defender services moving forward. He does have health diagnoses. He has a tumor that he has put off having the surgery for that. He's elderly, so we would like him to be out on a signature bond through the jail. He was arrested on November 4th. And so has had 3 nights in the jail. And yeah, that's all. And we would like him to also to be able to return to his home, the location, 579 Simmons Street.
And I'm sorry, you mentioned a brother. Why did you do that?
That's the only person I was able to get in touch with, just to find out. He was also concerned for his wife since she was arrested the same evening. So I was able to get in touch with him just to find out, her whereabouts and to try to get in touch with her because, my client denied all of the allegations that are stated in the warrant. And so I wanted to get a statement from her because, he stated that she was shocked when the police arrested him and that she told the officer that I just wanted you to tell him to go to bed.
Oh, I don't remember the last time the police report just to tuck someone in bed, but unfortunately,
they're 67 years old, so it sounds like it was just a little like a quarrel between an elderly couple, and she called the police. And
I'm not sure about that, but Mr. McCord, your bond is going to be set at $3,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You're going to get a signature bond, but you need to comply with these conditions. And I hope you understand that you cannot return to the same home as Desiree McCord. You need to stay away from the 579 Simmons Street, Northwest location. Is that the correct address, Mr. Thomas?
That is correct.
All right. You can go there one time only with a police officer to get your personal stuff, and then you need to go live somewhere else. Within 30 days of being released on your signature bond, you have to let the courts know what is your new address. You are to have no contact with Desiree McCord. You are to stay 200 yards away and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. While you are out on a signature bond, you are to submit to an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment that's required. So that must be done within 60 days of being released. You can go to Grady or your own doctor to do an alcohol and drug evaluation. And you must show proof that that evaluation has been done to your pretrial officer. You will report to pretrial once a month, and you're not to possess any weapons or any firearms, not to consume any alcohol, and no illegal drugs. Your next court date will be sent to your new address, so make sure that we have it as soon as you are released on bond. Yes.
The ALLOY.
All right, I'm not sure there was a question there, but okay, that concludes this case.
You're done. Position 5, Jones.
Come on.
All right, State versus Cordillero Jones, accused of simple battery, family violence from November 6, 2023. Accusations 23 CR 6940B. Mr. Jones, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Ataye. Ms. Ataye, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Ataye?
It's a tie.
Ataye, okay. And Ataye, and Mr. Howard, any priors?
Third arrest. He was arrested in August. Kidnapping, false imprisonment, ag assault, terrorist threats, criminal damage to property, cruelty in the third, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. That's a 10% pretrial bond, just so you know. I did not write down the case number.
All right. And anything else prior to the second arrest? What was the first arrest about?
I don't remember, but I don't think it was violent, because otherwise I'd have wrote it down.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Walker?
Unless it was dismissed, I probably didn't.
Okay. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 2601 Roosevelt Highway, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Akila Vaughn. She advised that her and the defendant were engaged in a verbal altercation at their apartment that turned physical, at which time the defendant did push her to the ground. At that time, warrants were taken out for the defendant. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, no contact with the victim, Ms. Akila Vaughn, a stay away from the incident location of 2601 Roosevelt Highway, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Okay. Mr. Tyne?
Your Honor, my client has been living in Georgia for 20 years. His current address is that 2601 Roosevelt Highway. It's his home. The complaining witness is Akila Vaughn. I wasn't able to get in touch with her. He states that they've only been together for about 3 months, and she has not officially moved into the home. So we would ask that he's able to return to that location since it is his home. He has 4 children, including a newborn that he helps care for. In this case, he denies the allegations. He states that an unknown third party called the police, that he did not push Miss Vaughn, but that he called her because she was out at a friend's home and he was with her baby and asked her to come pick the child up. And she came maybe running towards him, and he just put his hands out to deflect that, and denies that he even pushed her. So she did not call the police. Somebody else called the police. And Yeah, that's all. He does qualify for public defender services because he's a retired corrections officer with the city of Atlanta. And we would be okay with no further violent contact with Akilah Vaughn, but really want him to be able to return to his home.
And Your Honor, according to the warrant, the victim advised that she's lived with the defendant about 2 to 3 months right now, and all her belongings are at that address, and that she's resided there for longer than 30 days, so that's her residence as well. And she's still there, so we would be asking for her to stay away as she resides at that location.
Okay, Mr. Walker. Mr. Ty, does your client rent or own that property?
I believe he rents the property, but I think he's been there for years. And he did state that they've only been together for 3 months, and I asked him, because I saw that in the warrant, that her belongings are in the property, but he said she has not officially moved in, and only some diapers and things for her child are in the home, and she lives with her mother.
All right. The bond is going to be set at $1,500. It's going to be a surety bond. He needs to have no contact with Akilah Vaughn. He has to stay away from the 2601 Roosevelt Highway apartment H1. He can return one time only with a police officer. If he verifies residency, that nobody's living there, that Miss Vaughn has in fact vacated the premises. Now, when I say vacate, I mean all the belongings are gone. Diapers, clothing, I don't know, phone charger, all those items are gone. Then he can move back into the place. But if she's still residing there, he needs to find somewhere else. And as we know that if an individual is living in a place for more than 30 days, that would be tantamount to getting a dispossessory action. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and his next court date will be sent to the address that he specifies. He would have to provide a new address within 30 days or confirm that the Roosevelt Highway is his current address if it's determined that she doesn't live there anymore. Thank you. And the next court date's November 21st.
Position 1, Bonner.
Michael Bonner is accused of battery, family violence from May 6, 2023. Mr. Bonner, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Abden. Mr. Howard?
4 total. Last arrest was February out of Baltimore. Possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute cannabis, and a loaded handgun and vehicle. The loaded handgun was conviction. That's all I got.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 4725 Walton Crossing, where they spoke to the victim. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. Kia Shanae McCrae. She advised that her and her child's father were engaged in a verbal altercation when he became violent. He took their child's tricycle and threw it against a glass window, causing the window to shatter. Glass from that window did strike her in the face, striking her and cutting her on her left eyebrow. At that time, I believe that he did grab her by the throat. At that time, law enforcement was called. We have made contact with the victim. I believe Ms. McCrae is on the line. We are asking for a $2,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And of course, I was out for the victim, Ms. McCrae.
This is 4725 Walter Crossing?
And that's my understanding, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. McCrae, I do see someone on Zoom, and Ms. McCrae, if you'd like to contribute to this proceeding, you have the option to do so, but I'll need to place you under oath. If you want to unmute and let me know.
Okay, yes, I will.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony provided will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
How do you know Michael Bonner?
We are currently engaged. So he is my child's father, and we're
When were
currently
you all engaged?
Say again.
When?
So we got engaged last year.
All right.
So, yeah, so currently, we've been working through some premarital, a neighbor.
I will have to check, Your Honor. I believe it's still open, but let me confirm.
I see it. 21 CR 007499B. And that's a second case from 2021 for battery family violence. And who represents him?
Says somebody filed a leave of absence July 5th.
Paul, also the public defender's office already represents him in that case. Okay.
And Your Honor, for this particular case, it is a Riverside issue. He was in the Monroe County jail since November 1st. The only reason he was being held is because of this warrant that was out that he was unaware of. I actually called Monroe to confirm all of this. They also sent me some booking information just to confirm, and I'd be happy to share it with the court if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'll send that over.
If you could CC me as well, please.
Yeah, send it to Mr. Walker.
You got it. And
what are you sending, by the way?
So Monroe sent me let me just pull it up. I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's a jail arrest booking report, so it shows the date he was arrested. He was just cited for a seatbelt citation. They told me over the phone that was not the reason he was arrested. It was because of the Fulton hold, and this document also shows that he was released to South Fulton on the 6th. So I can send that to you if you'd like.
Yeah, please.
You got
All right,
it.
we will get back to Mr. Michael Bonner. My concern also is that the prior case from 2021 apparently involves the same alleged victim. No, it doesn't. Hang on.
It does, and there was a no contact. I just looked at the bond order. At least her name is on the bond order with no further contact.
Yeah,
So
he got a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial, no further contact with Keishona McCrae, and to stay away from the Ezra Church Drive. And now this incident occurred on May 6th, and Miss McCrae has just indicated that they've been in communication, and I don't see a modification. All right, we'll have to get back to Mr. Bonner. Apparently, he's been violating the no contact provision of the bond order. All right.
Your Honor, I just sent that over to you, and I guess we can get back to it if later if you'd like.
Francois, we can address Mr. Bonner's matter and shortly. If you want to bring on the next case, please.
Position 2, Brantley.
This is State versus Justin Brantley, charged with simple battery family violence from September 1st, 2023. Mr. Brantley, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Abden. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Fourth arrest, 2020 criminal damage to property, cruelty to children, 2019 failure to appear, 2017 disorderly conduct, NOLO. He's recommended.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
in this case, Your Honor, law enforcement was dispatched to Gino's Pizza located at 1740 Cheshire Bridge Road, where they spoke to the victim, Ms. Brianna Maddox. She advised that she picked her boyfriend up, who is the defendant, from work, at which time they were engaged in a verbal altercation where he became upset. He punched her in the mouth and then grabbed her cell phone and her keys. At that time, she was able to escape the vehicle and ran to Gino's Pizza for safety and reached out to the police. We are asking for a $1,500 surety bond with no contact with the victim, Ms. Brianna Maddox. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Abden?
And Your Honor, if we can just sound for Ms. Maddox, I just got off the phone with her. It sounds like she did want to address the court and was trying to log on.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
All right, Ms. Maddox, if you want to address the court, may I place you under oath?
Okay.
Do Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to tell me?
Justin Brentley is our kid's father. We share 3 kids together. He's the sole provider in our household. The incident did not happen at our household. And honestly, it was just a heated situation that had happened. He's no harm to me, no harm to my kids. And my kids and I need him.
This is just 1 second. And it didn't occur at your home, right?
No, ma'am, it did not occur at my home, and my kids was nowhere
No,
in.
that's all I asked.
That's correct, Your Honor. It's my understanding that she was picking the defendant up from work and the altercation actually occurred in the vehicle.
Mhm.
The victim escaped the vehicle and went to Gino's Pizza, where she was able to call law enforcement.
All right. Okay. Ms. Maddox, I appreciate your position. Thank you for testifying today. Unfortunately, when these altercations occur, then the matter is not really placed in your control. You have now given the courts the responsibility. And based on his criminal record history and based on the allegations of the warrant, which are very concerning, the bond is going to be set at $5,000, is going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. But if he wants to maintain the signature bond, he would need to comply with the following conditions. No further contact with Brianna Maddox. He is to stay 200 yards away from Brianna Maddox and not contact her in any way, form, or manner. I'm going to allow for third-party transfer of the children. In other words, if he wants to see the children that you share with him, the contact must be done through a third party. It can be through one of your relatives, through a friend that you both trust, but he himself has to stay away from you. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And since this is a family violence matter, and he's been given a signature bond, within 30 days of being released, he must, number 1, update the court with his new address. He cannot be living with you. He needs to live in a separate location because he has to stay away from you. He's allowed a one-time visit to the home to get his personal property, and he must do so with a police officer. And the second thing he needs to do is enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. Within 30 days of being released, he must show proof to pretrial services that he's enrolled in a qualified DVIP program, and he must attend those classes at his expense. Next court date will be sent to his new address. Ms. Maddox, you are free to stay and observe what's going to happen next, because if Mr. Brantley violates the no contact order, the only person who's going to suffer the most is going to be Mr. Brantley, because he'll be back in jail with no bond. And you will definitely be away from him until his case goes to trial. So I'm giving him a signature bond. He needs to do the domestic violence classes, and he needs to maintain that. If he completes the classes and he wants to have contact with you and the children, then he needs to go to his attorney and ask the court to modify his bond order. But if you want to risk the chance of him being back in jail, then all you have to do is contact him and try to have a get-together. Because if the police finds out, he's back in jail. Do you understand, Ms. Maddox?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
You are free to stay and observe quietly what's going to happen next.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, it is my understanding that he does not reside with her. I just wanted to state that for the record, so I don't think.
Okay, that makes it easier then. So hopefully his address is correct. Next case,
The last case is, going back to position 1, Bonner.
what happened to position 3, Daniel Fuchs? Is that a waiver of appearance?
Yes, it's gonna be waiver of appearance.
Okay. And I think we've addressed all the others.
Yes, Judge, we did.
All right, thank you. All right, Michael Bonner is, okay, my concern is the other case that we have, 21 CR 007 499B. Mr. Bonner was given a signature bond through pretrial services with a specific provision of no contact with Miss McCrae and to stay away from the incident location, which is the, I think it was the same address as this one. Anything else to add, Ms. Abdon?
Well, on this case or the previous,
The document that you sent us, he was booked into Monroe or wherever that place is, looks like was arrested by Forsyth County Police Department. It says probate court. Was he addressed at probate court?
no, so that's why I called them and that's all they could send me because they didn't have the actual warrant documents. That's all they had. He would not have been arrested had it not been for this warrant. It was just a seatbelt citation. So typically no one's arrested on that. So they were able to confirm that via phone. And so I was just sharing with the court whatever I was able to get documented for the time being.
Any comment on the prior case with the bond order requiring no contact?
Yes, Your Honor. I did discuss this case with him. He stated that same like today, he was arrested, was represented by a public defender. He stated that he's not received any notices or anything about this case since then. As you've heard from the complaining witness, they have worked things out. They are, per her wishes, they're asking for no further violent contact. I understand that was the order of the court. He was to abide by it. And so I do understand that he is in violation of that.
Oh, absolutely. On this particular case, Mr. Walker, I'm going to revoke the $5,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Your Honor.
It's going to be amended to a $5,000 surety bond. And this is standard procedure when the defendant is arrested again. No contact with Kishonna McRae to stay away from 1600 Ezra Church Drive. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol. Third party of the transfer of the children allowed. With regards to the second case, any comment about the possible Riverside issues, Mr. Walker?
Well, I'm showing, and I'm still looking things up, but I'm showing that he was booked into our jail yesterday. I see that he has an open case out of city of Atlanta. I just want to make sure that he was not booked in on that case and not this case, because it's my understanding that it's the same exact charge. Actually, I'm showing that the warrant that he was booked in, because I'm looking at his GCIC, the warrant that he was booked into, I guess in Monroe, was for simple battery. And if you look, this warrant is for battery family violence. So I really believe, and I'm still trying to confirm, that he was booked in on that charge and not this charge.
What does the warrant say? Because sometimes the state amends the charge from the warrant.
Well, let me go back to the jailing screen. I believe this warrant is for battery family violence. And when I checked his GCIC, the warrant that was outstanding was for simple battery family violence.
Okay.
And he does have an open simple battery family violence out of city of Atlanta. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if I had to guess, it's probably from the city of Atlanta that he was booked in on, because this warrant is battery family violence. The warrant that he had outstanding on his GCIC is simple battery family violence. And that's the charge that he has out of the city of Atlanta in 2021. That's a separate case.
Agree. As I said,
So I don't believe this is a Riverside issue.
In the older case, 21 CR 499B, you'll be sending me a proposed order revoking the signature bond and amending it to a surety bond. On this present case is going to be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. And his next court date to address both cases is going to be November 21st.
So you need an order for to revoke, or do I just need to do the bond surrender?
I think
You can do the bond surrender, but Mr. Walker is going to make sure that the reason why it's being surrendered is because of that. I just want to make sure we put that in order. All right, thank you. Next,
Judge, I just have a quick question. Yeah, and I think you may have just addressed it, Your Honor, if I could. I think procedurally, right, if pretrial is coming, surrendering the bond would be the appropriate mechanism, because otherwise, if the court is revoking the bond, then obviously we would need notice and an opportunity to be heard to meet with due process. And so we would need time to prepare for that hearing. But if it's a bond surrender before pretrial, then that, I think, will satisfy the court's, what the court's trying to do. But I think that's the mechanism to do it without us having to have a full-blown hearing on the issue of the.
I may be using the wrong semantics.
Okay.
Mr. Walker will be sending an order amending the bond based on the surrender of the pretrial bond.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Judge.
All right, Mr. Walker, let's be careful about the semantics.
I will do my best. Any corrections that need to be made, I'll be glad to make them.
Send it in word format. Yes, Mr. Bonner, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Highly recommend that you exercise quiet time and then use that time to speak to your attorney.
Yes, may I have this time to speak to my attorney in a separate room?
She will be definitely reaching out to you because I have one other case to address. Thank you.
Judge Law, quick question, because on the calendar, it has only one battery family violence, but then on the 3 card, it shows twice. So hold on.
Which case are we talking about?
For position 1, Mr. Bonner. So for the first, can you listen? Be quiet, please. So for the first case,
go ahead.
Can you hear me, Judge Law?
Yes, I can.
So for the first case, you gave a 5,000 good bond, but then for the second.
Oh, let me clarify that. On the current case that you have on the calendar, he has a $5,000 signature bond through the jail.
Okay.
Okay. He has another open case in which the signature bond has been surrendered and it will be amended to a $5,000 surety bond. That case is not on the calendar.
Yeah, Francois, the second charge, is that simple battery?
Yes.
So on the booking sheet, it says invalid warrant besides that charge. Because on the booking, it's a battery DV and a simple battery family violence. Beside the simple battery, it says invalid.
Yeah. So he's only got one charge on this new case, battery family violence.
Okay.
So right now he has 2 open cases, both of them battery family violence.
Okay.
So let me get an understanding as well. On this case here, 23 CR 006941B, the charge is battery family violence. There's a $5,000 SOB through the jail.
Yes.
Are there any conditions to go with
No, it's a Riverside.
Okay, very good. That's all I needed to know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So Ms. Bridgewater, we are going to reset both the cases to the SAP calendar of November 21st.
Okay, and will you give me that other case number again? I have this one here, but what is that one, that the previous case number?
21 CR 007 499B.
And they'll both be set to the November 21st SAP calendar.
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Michael Bonner's case? No? All right. Thank you, Francois. I think that concludes the calendar. Ms. Abdon, if you can reach out to your client after the calendar call, that would be good.
I definitely will, Your Honor. The last one is a waiver. That's my case, and I'll call him after that.
Okay. Daniel Fuchs is 23 CR 6938A, and his presence has been waived by counsel. He's accused of 4 misdemeanor charges, 2 of which are violations of certain acts at a bus, rail, or station, 1 count of criminal trespass, and 1 count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Mr. Howard, any priors?
41 total. On probation, 20 SC 176473. criminal damage to property. 2023 probation, 2022 trespass, 2022 shoplifting conviction, probation violation.
That's
2019
good. Thank you. Mr. Walker, what's your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. My recommendation is a $500 surety bond on each count. In this case, the defendant was on the MARTA train, walking. I believe it was on actually a moving train. It was moving in between carts through the emergency exit doors. This caused a huge issue with MARTA. They had to stop trains on both sides of the tracks. When MARTA police arrived, he gave flight and they had to chase him through the MARTA. Again, we are asking for a $500 surety bond on each count and to stay away from all MARTA while out on bond.
Does he have a suspension presently?
Let me check. I do not have that in my notes. I have to reread the warrant
Okay.
to make sure.
Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 37. He moved to Georgia 12 years ago. He lives with his uncle here in Fulton County. So he has strong ties to the community. He's not a flight risk at this time. He got his GED. He's currently unemployed, Your Honor. I did connect him with a social worker to help him with employment. He also needs some help with housing. He is staying with his uncle, but wants to stay somewhere else. This is somebody, Your Honor, who cannot pay at all, and so his indigency is a concern. I am requesting you take that into consideration and possibly put reasonable restrictions that would make sure that the public is safe, but that he's not penalized due to his indigency and remains in jail.
I'm going to accept the state's recommendation that is based on his recidivist track record. It's nothing to do with this indigency standard. It's more a very high likelihood to reoffend. He needs to stay away from all MARTA property until further order of the court. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Reset date is November 21st. His total bond is $2,000 surety.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, just to go over the calendar, position number 1.
I'm sorry, Judge, what's your breakdown?
Oh, 500 on each count?
Thank you.
Okay. Position number 1, Bonner is a $5,000 signature bond through the jail on the current case and a $5,000 surety on his previous case. Position number 2, Brantley is position 1 is reset to November 21st. Position 2 is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial. Position 3 is a $2,000 surety bond. Position 4 is a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial. 5, Jones is a $1,500 surety bond, reset date November 21st. 6 is released further notice. 7, McCord is a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial. 8, Phillips is a $5,500 surety bond, reset date November 21st. Position 9 is a $2,500 signature bond through the jail, a release to DeKalb County authorities only. And position 10 is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Further notice. Any questions? Francois, you done?
Yes, we're completed here. I'm just gonna have Ms. Abden, we're gonna go ahead and give you a call, or you can call us at 404-612-2392.
92. Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. And we will see you, I don't know, I guess Thursday. All right. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.